All right. So we're going to be talking a little bit about the mark of the beast. We're also going to be talking about, the seal of God, on his children's forehead. We're going to be talking so we're going to also be talking about the splitting of Earth, 3D to 5D. We're also going to be talking about a vaccine and other physical matters, politics, situationships, ultimately Judgment Day. And so hopefully this video will reach the people it's meant to reach and share the message it's supposed to share. I'm going to start off by saying yesterday I had a conversation with my family. And my brothers, doing their thing. And of course, here in New York, the vaccine is mandatory for higher education colleges. Most colleges need it. And I'm blessed with two parents that care deeply about their children and want the best for them. One of which is very much against vaccine and believes it's the premonition of the mark of the beast. The other one believes that everything is God's will, and ultimately we are all here to lean not on our own understanding, but trust that God will protect us and we don't have to fear the vaccine maybe as much. So I wanted to talk a little bit about it. I hope that I can stay on topic and I can just get this video out there. All right? So let's just start talking about it. So the conversation was pretty long drawn out, and I saw these two polls playing a role, and this is what it looked like. And I know that I'm blessed to be almost like a Brit. I'm able to see both sides, and I've seen things. Okay, I've seen things. I mean, God has revealed things, and I believe God is revealing more and more to us as we need to know it. Okay, so here's the deal. My friend. We are aware that the Earth is splitting into different densities or dimensions, the 5D and 3D. Now, this doesn't actually mean a physical splitting of Earth. It doesn't mean that I can't, with my understanding, it does not mean that we are actually going to see the Earth split up like some kind of cell, but on some level, especially the spiritual level, that's kind of what's happening. And so this splitting is because of the heaviness and the dimensions, the densities they're sorting themselves out. And so we're seeing these two dimensions being more realized and fully manifested. I've talked about the 5D and 3D before, and I'll try my best to maybe put a card somewhere up here, Esther. Up here, somewhere. Up here, maybe. Anytime. About the 5D and 3D if I can find it. But in that video, we talk a little bit about separating the wheat from the chaff. And if you're familiar with Revelations, then I'm not going to go too much deeper into that. Watch the video if you want all of the information about the 5D and 3D and the 4D and all of that stuff. Okay. So for this video, what you gotta know is that there are these two realms, let's call them heaven and hell. And we are seeing a drastic splitting in these realms. Now, the vaccine, coronavirus, the pandemic, the past 2 years from 2020 to where we are now in 2022 has created a dramatic shift in most of our lives in many ways, whether it's with relationships, health, your faith, which I think was really impacted a lot for many people, and so much more. We have all, as a whole population on the planet, gone through a certain spiritual training, which we are about to go through. The next phase is what I'm feeling in my soul. Okay, so what happened the past 2 years? Well, the coronavirus became a widespread pandemic or problem for many people. And of course, corona means crown, We know that crown in Latin, connected to the crown chakra, is the opening of higher understanding and connection with what some people would call galactic federation or light beings, aliens, cosmic family members, or quite simply God, oneness, source. So this opening in the crown also caused an influx in energy. And because energy can't be destroyed or created, it's just distributed, in these ways that creates an equilibrium. The root of our understanding of Earth, our rootedness, the structural aspects of what we thought was so set in stone, aka the society that we live in and all of the other structures, that we saw them crumble because of this influx of energy. And we spent a lot of time alone, right? We were all kind of isolated, in quarantine, staying home. And that then again more so forced us to refine and understand our own faith and to develop a faith in something. Now, here's where the splitting really began, where we rooted our faith. Because in the beginning, we, again, as I shared, like that root was being lifted up. It was not even. Now we're seeing things start to settle down. And as it settles, these two manifestations or these two dimensions are going to be more fully realized. So where you planted your faith is now going to start to show the physical manifestations of that. And so what was that in 2021? Well, you could have put your faith in one or two things. And of course, there are many other things you can put your faith in, but we'll simplify it for this video. You could put your faith in the science and the people and the world, or you could put your faith in source, oneness, God. Now, aka you could put your faith in the world being the 3D, the heaviness, the physical reality, the restrictions that are set upon us for our own safety and survival, or you could have put your faith into the 5D, aka the eternal understanding that we are living in a temporary experience. This human body isn't just but a mere vessel to contain our soul for this time of this journey, and that there is a source, there is a God, there is a oneness creator that we are connected to that is leading our ways and has given our life purpose and is creating us for the mission and the purpose that we are here to serve today. Okay, something like that. You put your faith in kind of these one of two things. And it's okay. Some people were fluctuating, and people are still fluctuating through this understanding and finding their footing on where their faith should really be. You could also look at this as, and I just get in this picture in my mind right now, of a valley and a mountain. Now, those who chose to root themselves in the valley, you could say that for many it was just an easier choice, okay? It was easier to root their faith in the 3D because they can see it and perceive it, and it's something that their body is familiar with and that they find easier to trust because they can perceive it with their physical vessel. Now, those that went up to the mountain, there was some work that had to be done to get up there to the mountain, and this is a higher perspective. You're rooting yourself or grounding yourself in something that is a little bit more difficult to ground into. Quite literally, the water streams down to the valley from the mountain, and so this is kind of you actually having to, not in a way deny your physical sensations and your physical vessel of the perception that you're seeing, but understand and in a way transcend it, being fully realized that there is more to this life and the perception of reality and physical reality than what we see, and what is governing it is going beyond. Ooh, my throat right now. Blah, blah, blah. That's when you know. All right, not to go off too much in a rant because this video is already getting a little lengthy. But now let's talk about the vaccine. So we see that for many people, they took the vaccine. And so there are many reasons why people will take the vaccine. and based off of what I just shared, it is related to where they have their faith in. Those that have faith in humanity or the world and in the physical to assist them may take the vaccine. Not everybody who took the vaccine has faith in the 3D or is totally grounded in the 3D, though. There are many souls that a part of their mission was to take the jab in order to assist humanity and clear fear around it, because their faith ultimately will break any physical obstacle, because that is what they're rooted in. Keep this in mind. So when we see some of the division that started to stir up, which is now actually a triggering moment for us to create more structured and solid boundaries within our beliefs, our understanding, our faith, and overall our compassion, because that's what's going to assist us in continuous harmony with all beings. Okay, so yeah. So here's pretty much the whole heaven and hell manifestation, the whole splitting of earth situation that we're seeing. If you trust and have faith in God, if you have faith that you are but a soul in a temporary human body, and that your soul is eternally connected to the omnipotent source of oneness, greatest of all dimensions beyond our human comprehension, if you have rooted your faith in the understanding that you are here to play a role in life, and that every single soul is here to play a role in life, and that source is communicating to you continuously through every situation that you face, then you have rooted yourself in the 5D, aka heaven on earth. And now this is the separating of the wheat and the chaff. Now there are many people that have rooted themselves in the opposite, which we could say hell on earth. For them it is, and I will share what the telltale signs of understanding the mark of the beast versus the seal on the forehead of God's children, which we'll talk about right after this note. And it's really that there are people, again, that are more rooted in trusting humanity and the world, and have, you could say, a fear that is driving them to do certain things in order to protect themselves and others. And so having compassion now on both sides, and here we're going to go into what I've seen and noticed. I don't like politics, but I have noticed on the far left and the far right this mention of death. And this is my understanding of a part of the mark of the beast, or at least understanding when people are feeding into that energy. It doesn't mean the vaccine. It actually is the thought forms and the consciousness that is behind certain entity that is associated with this concept of the vaccine. Now, those on the far left have claimed that if you do not get the vaccine, something surrounding death will happen. You may die of COVID. And so for them, it's a justification that you should get the vaccine in order not to die of COVID. Or, aka, look at how many people have died already. Let's prevent that death. Now, on the far right, the same similar argument of death is also playing a role. If you get it, there's a chance that you will die. And there's a chance that you will be disconnected from life. So you see that both of these sides are sharing an argument of fear surrounding death. And because of this, they have gone too far into the broad way, and they are no longer in the straight and narrow. They are no longer balanced in understanding the concept that God has created both good and bad for his will, for his work, and that we can honor both sides and see that there is a reason why things are the way that they are. We can honor it. Yeah, sure, our human minds may think this should not be how it is. it should be better. It's so bad. But in reality, we must find balance within understanding and honoring where we are in this journey at this time. Also realizing in a million years from now, nobody's going to care what's happening right now, but maybe they will. It's pretty cool. But back on topic now about the mark of the beast, and again, talking a little bit about the mark of the beast. Now, I believe that the mark of the beast is actually an imprintation, a fear, like a trauma. Okay, that's the best way I can say it, because the words imprint. It's an imprintation. I don't know, that word's just not coming out. Anyways, it's pretty much this fear-based trauma that has been imprinted on the souls of many that have seen the ways of the world, and they have been struck by fear. And this, I believe, is a part of the mark of the beast. And so when I hear people talking about death or trying to use death to justify their means, I immediately shut off, or in other words, I direct my attention to God, knowing that all life ultimately has to have death. Just like in the world, we see that we exhale air that would kill us if we kept it in, the CO2. But trees need this in order for them to create oxygen. Such is so with this balance between life or death. If we focus too much on death to justify what's going on, then I think that we've missed a vital part of the whole works. And again, I'm just human, sharing my views and sharing some insights that I hope will help somebody out there. Okay, so this is something that I've seen, and I believe that as soon as you feel it is necessary to leverage death in such a way to use it to prove your point or get people to follow your agenda, then something is gravely wrong, and you are feeding the mark of the beast. You are feeding fear to something that is not of God. And I mean, ultimately everything's of God, but I believe that, again, we're living during Judgment Day, Testing Day, aka Ascension time, where the world is really splitting, and God's asking you, do you want to be in heaven or do you want to be in hell? And it's really up to you to be like, yes, I want eternal life, or no, I'm horrified of eternal death. And okay, anyways, back on topic now. So the mark of the beast, I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure there are more people that are watching this that have more insight that could potentially assist the souls that are watching this with understanding the mark of the beast more, but that's how I identify this. And I believe that we, again, as souls fluctuating, are all playing a role. And so when I see somebody that may be a little bit too fixated on death or feeding fear to the things that they know will just bring them down into a heavier, lower vibration that will open them up to experience hell, I revert back, take a moment to observe from a higher perspective, give as much compassion as I possibly can, pray for that soul, and then I go on my way. Now, and I direct that energy, direct that fear, I acknowledge it, and I direct it back to God. So let's talk about the seal on the foreheads of God's children. Now, I believe if you're watching this, there's a good chance that you are aware of what's going on and your role here and your mission here on earth. So let's talk a little bit about what this seal on God's children's forehead is for. Well, it's pretty simple. It's to carry through God's vision and and for us to more fully realize and perceive God, source oneness, the creator of all life, in our lives in a inseparable way, so that we really are perceiving source in everything that we do, aka the 5D, where we understand that we are connected to all beings and that this oneness source is working through us in all things. We can honor that. We can direct any fear that feels that it is not purely of God, which is really the only thing that you should fear, because that is the best way to transmute fear into love. This is the beauty and the power of having the ability to see and perceive God, of understanding that the seal that God has marked on our foreheads is here to assist those that may be drowning in the pits of hell, to help them assist and transmute the energy of fear back into love. And as we do this, and as we perceive and open our eyes and our mind and our understanding more to perceiving God in every single moment, it becomes easier, and we begin to see this stronger transcendence into the 5D realm. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to note is about boundaries. I'm noticing a lot of, not resistance as much as what I would say friction surrounding different people, relationships. Maybe in your own life you have been perceiving friction of sorts within your relationships. And so, again, I'm seeing this concept of when we are setting boundaries, it is about first removing any energy that we have, especially fear, from the situation and the relationship or the interaction. We have to remove the fear first, and how we do that is by simply allowing ourselves to take a moment to breathe and receive that higher perspective that God will naturally give you because you have the seal on your forehead. And then it is so much easier for you to perceive that fear for what it is, and then transmute it into love and allow yourself to then strengthen the ascension or the grounding of the 5D heaven on earth. Okay, so with that being said, boundaries. Again, boundaries are this beautiful line, this beautiful place where we're going to see it's going to get a lot stronger as the nations continue to split in terms of what you will allow to tolerate. That means what we as the people allow the government, the people that we put in control or are in control of us for the God-given reason that that's their mission here on earth, and we should pray for them, not just for them but for us, because they are governing us. And if we can't control that energy, the best thing that we can do is to observe it. If there's any fear, again, take a moment to breathe, have that higher perspective, trust, and ultimately have faith in God, that God is with you and with all souls and has created this experience for us to experience and learn true love, unconditional love, full love, and so we can also experience heaven on earth at every moment. Again, I feel like I'm a broken record, okay? Experience heaven on earth in every moment. Transcend the fear. Tap into love. 5D, 3D. All of the vibrations are just all in harmony. It's wonderful. But for real, as you will see or may notice, when the time comes and you are instructed to set more clear boundaries, be aware of what that looks like for you and why you are setting these boundaries. Now, 2 boundaries are going to be made, one of fear and one of love. Those who have fear, and trust me, there are a lot of people that have phobias, deja vu moment right now, are starting to emerge out of the world, and they have so much fear that they've created boundaries that are stopping them from experiencing love. Therefore, they have created a boundary or a box for themselves that is trapping them in hell. And so there will be a time where we will assist them. The people that are meant to assist them will assist them, those that are meant to experience heaven on earth. And there is a time where we may have to go down to hell and experience that as well. But we must ultimately understand that as humans, a part of our experience here on earth is to experience both the good and the bad, and to find the balance in it all, and the harmony that humanity is so hungry for is right at the tips of our fingers. But first, we must respect the boundaries that people are setting, whether it is of fear or of love. I highly suggest that you set boundaries of love, and even to those that are going to set boundaries of fear in the way that they communicate or interact with those around them, that you also set a boundary of love right back at them, reflecting that love, giving them the opportunity to perceive the unconditional love and that it really is going to be okay. We're not here to live forever, and so we don't have to fear death. It's okay. You do have a mission here on earth, and a part of your mission is to understand that God has put us all here on earth for a mission, and that our missions are intermingled, and the more that we can realize and honor this, the more in harmony humanity will be. So thank you so much for watching this video. I know it's a little bit more on the lengthier side, but I totally appreciate it, and I honor you and I thank you. This was something that was really big on my heart ever since the conversation last night, and I've just been reflecting on how thankful I am to share this with you. I would be lying if I said I don't have a little bit of fear sharing this, to be honest. I'm not sure exactly why, but I'm taking a moment to just breathe in, and maybe you'll breathe in with me and we can just transmute any fear that we feel surrounding the experience that we are living in, any limitations in the physical that we feel may obstruct our soul from fully carrying out our mission. May we take a moment to breathe that in, transmute that fear, and direct it to God to further ground our faith. And without further ado, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. God bless and namaste.